Welcome to the Red Half of Sheffield, a Sheffield United podcast by two American Blades. Actually, today's only one American Blades, as you are probably either listening to this on the back half of our uh, review podcast of the win this weekend over Cardiff City, or like probably some viewers are watching this on our YouTube channel. As you can see, and you are about to hear, I am joined by Patch Warner of the Three Peeps in a podcast covering Bristol City. Patch, how are you this Sunday afternoon, America time, evening, UK time?
Yeah, it's 8:08 here in Bristol, England, and I'm from the red half of Bristol, so we've got that in common. But
Yes.
yeah, I'm doing well, thank you. We always start all of our podcasts with a bit of a check-in. So I'm an 8 out of 10, I'd say. I've had
Wow.
a Sunday roast. We recorded our podcast this morning off the back of our spirited performance away at Watford, although we lost 2-0. Chris Wilder, your old friend, did the did the job on us. But yeah, I'm an 8 out of 10. Thanks, Chad.
Yeah. Well, I'll join in there. I'm probably let's see. I'm only about a half a beer in, so right now I can say I'm about a solid 7.5 out of 10. Check
Nice.
back in a couple hours, I'll probably be a 10 out of 10. Um, but yeah, I mean, yesterday's result, is it kind of what you guys expected going into a Watford team that is up and down and Wilder out, Wilder in? Wilder's going to take us to the end of the season. Where what were your thoughts leading into the game, and then coming out of that defeat yesterday? What were your thoughts on that one?
Yeah, coming into the game, I was sort of watching the news over the last few days, thinking that Watford are just all over the place, really. And poor old Chris Wilder has been asked to go into the end of the season and already been told that this other person was potentially coming in. So that can have a good impact on the players and the whole, the whole team and the whole squad and the staff and everything. So I didn't know what to expect, really. What I did expect is for us to play some good football, some exciting football, which we have been doing over the last few months at least. And I always go in thinking that we can get something out of the game, to be fair. And we were by far the better team. I think even some Watford fans would say that. But I don't know if you've seen the goals, but they were both quite calamitous. The first one was an own goal that we tried to clear and went in off the back of Harry Cornick, and the second one just went through three or four players and hit Max O'Leary on the ankle and went in the net. So yeah, that aside, we just obviously weren't clinical enough at our end and didn't take our chances. But I don't think we deserve to lose. Absolutely not.
Yeah. So, I mean, off of the back of that defeat yesterday, I guess I'll ask you this, a more broader question. Sum up the Robin season in a whole. Like, where have you guys been? Because out of all of the championship teams, I mean, I try to keep an eye on, every team basically looking at the results and, run of form kind of guide. What is where has Bristol City's season, start at the beginning and
Yeah,
to
sure.
the defeat yesterday?
Yeah, so we the first sort of 3 months were a little bit inconsistent. We had some great games and we had some not so good games, and then we went on a bit of a run around Christmas time, and there was a game on Boxing Day, so the day after Christmas for those American listeners, that we got defeated by West Brom. I think it was 2-0, and we didn't play well. You couldn't see where any sort of excitement was going to come from. And then that game, there was the following game, I think it was against Swansea, and we were forced into making a change and go into a slightly different formation. We've been playing 3-5-2 for quite some time, and we went to this sort of 4-2-3-1 formation, 4-3-3, whatever you want to call it. And that seemed to just put people into the right positions more naturally. There was no round pegs and square holes, and that it just seemed to just click. And then we went on a run of, I think it was 12 undefeated. which really took us from a couple of places below the relegation zone right up to the top half of the top of the bottom half of the league. And also we went on a bit of a run in the FA Cup, which culminated in a 3-0 home defeat to Man City, which was a great spectacle. Great to see, the likes of Kevin De Bruyne and friends come down to Ashton Gate, and one hell of an evening. We never expected, obviously, to win, but you never know. We 5 years ago we beat Man United in the Carabao Cup and got to the semi-finals against Man City, in fact, and had a two-legged game, and we were 1-0 up at the Etihad, and who knows what could happen there. But we eventually didn't beat Man City, and they went on to the final. But we never know what's going to happen there. And I guess you guys have got them in the semi-finals of the FA Cup next weekend. So all the very best with that.
Yeah.
But yeah, the season after that, so we then did get defeated, and we did get a few more defeats thereafter. And from then on in, it's been exciting. The football's been exciting. We haven't won every game, but we've been in every game and deserved to get something out of games. So we're in a good place now, and Bristol City fans are really in a mindset of let's keep it going into the end of the season. We've got nothing to play for. We are in the middle of the table. We are. We've got a lot of players that are coming back from injury. We want to get some momentum going in. Me personally, I think it would be great for us to finish on a plus goal difference. We're now -2 as a result of yesterday, because that gives you a bit of hope in terms of us being able to keep clean sheets and keep the goals out, as well as scoring more goals. So yeah, with the remaining games come in, I just want to see some attacking, exciting football. I want to see some goals and some clean sheets so that we can finish on a plus goal difference. And finishing at the start of the season, my aspirations, if you like, my expectations, that's probably a better word, is to finish top of the bottom half. I think that would be a good finish, but who's to say we can't go and get a few more points and maybe even creep into the top half, but we shall see.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I was gonna caveat another question in here. Would you say Bristol City with 4 games left, you know, I mean, there is hope sitting 14th. You guys really aren't on the beach then, because you would look at the table in that middle part of the table, 12th, 13th, 14th, 15th. I mean, it's all really, really tight. So
Yeah.
it's good to see, and that's why I like the competitiveness of this division, because you really can't have a part of the season where you're on the beach and sunning, and you're like, oh, you know what, the last 4 games, let's just kind of let them roll, and whatever happens, happens. We're good. It
Yeah.
sounds like you guys want to try and get a top half finish, and that's very achievable.
Well, it's one of those things, isn't it, where you want to build momentum going into the closed season, because if we're trying to attract players, they'll ultimately look at the league table and see where we finished and see what our goal difference was and all of that sort of stuff. I think now that obviously we did lose to you guys, to Watford, I say you guys because Chris Wilder is in my head, uh, because we lost to Watford yesterday and they are in 12th place. They are now 6 points ahead of us with a better goal difference. I think 13th is probably our best position that we can finish, which is currently held by Swansea. So, yeah, if we can achieve that top of the bottom half, I think that will be in line with most fans' expectations. But you want to there's lots of competition for places. They're starting to look at how the team's going to look next season. They're starting to look at what signings they need next season. So it's in everyone's interest playing, and there's a few players playing for contracts as well.
Mhm.
So it's in everyone's interest. In seasons gone by, we have been on the beach a little bit around this sort of time, and it just gets fans wound up, and you want to see those players putting in that level of effort. You want to see them competing for positions. And yeah, I think we've got every expectation now that the remaining 4 games we will play as if we are playing for a playoff spot.
Yeah, and is I ask everybody about their manager, Nigel Pearson. Is he the man to put? Do, I guess, do you instill all your faith in Nigel Pearson to take Bristol City to, you saying finish top of the bottom half? Next year, do you try to strive for the playoffs and so on and so forth?
Yeah,
Is he the guy to get you over the proverbial hump to
I
be
honest
challenging for a playoff position or promotion?
Yeah, I honestly think he is. He's been on a journey. Let's say he's inherited a squad, a big squad of people on big wages. He's trimmed down the wage bill. He's trimmed out some of the players that weren't his type of players. He's blooded numerous players from the academy and shown faith in that, and that has reaped rewards. With Alex Scott, you've got someone who is potentially on the verge of a £25 million move to the Premier
Yep.
League.
Hmm.
And it's how we then reinvest that. Obviously, don't want him to leave, but it seems inevitable. And we are on the cusp, really, of pushing definitely for me into the top half. Let's say we finish top of the bottom half, then you're looking at progression. So progression for me would be just outside the playoffs, but that gives us hope of getting into the playoffs. It depends on what happens with the teams that come down. It depends a lot on how other teams perform. But as you know, in the championship, anyone can beat anyone on their day. We could
Yep.
quite easily go to Bramall Lane on Tuesday night and get a victory.
Yeah.
So we will. I'm sure we'll come on to that in a minute. But yeah, it's Nigel Pearson has I say, trimmed down a lot of the excess baggage, if you like. He's got a team that have built a culture of where they are all playing for each other. There's no sort of standout prima donnas. There's no one big character in the dressing room. They are just one big character in themselves, and you can see that in all of the social media that we see on the training pitch and in the tunnel, in the change rooms, all of that sort of stuff. And yeah, it's building nicely, is what I'd say, and I wouldn't want that to derail.
Yeah. I mean, you guys, you mentioned, you almost led into my next question. I've watched some Bristol City games with a particular eye and a particular player, and you said his name. And for people watching the YouTube video and the ones that are listening on the radio, they can see me like light up because yes, I've been following this whole Alex Scott, and he seems to be like you said, prepared for a 25 million pound move to the Premier League.
Mm.
I don't know what our situation with funds are going to be, and we're kind of in limbo with a new, a takeover maybe imminent. Along with Alex Scott, who are the danger men for Bristol City? And if I do, please, can you enlighten, if the listeners don't know who Alex Scott, please tell them, enlighten them, please.
Well, yeah. So Alex Scott, we picked him up from Guernsey FC, which is not on the mainland of the UK. But we picked him up from Guernsey in I can't remember the exact dates, but 2019-ish. And he played in the development squad, if you like, the under 21s. And straight away, they could see what a special talent he was. Snapped him up, signed him up. He's now on an extended contract as well. So that's in our favor. He's not out of contract or anything like that, but he's now played. He burst onto the scene actually in a pre-season friendly. I think it was in 2020 against Aston Villa. And you could just see that he was something special. And he's now played 87 games for Bristol City, scored 6 goals, and he is still only 19. And he does not look out of place in the slightest.
No.
You look at him from afar and the way he plays football, you wouldn't say he was that age. And Yeah, he came on yesterday. He's been out injured, actually. He came on yesterday in about the 55th minute and instantly had that impact, that air of, right, I'm going to grab this game by the jaffers, and try and try and get a few, set up a few goals and try and drive things forward. But he will be a massive loss for us should he leave in the summer. But the fact that he has been out for a few games and we have still been playing good, exciting football. We've had a few signings come in January, and Anis Mehmeti from Wickham, who is an exciting footballer. Harry Cornick from Luton, who is coming into himself now. He's coming into the game more, and we're starting to see why he was signed. But alongside that, you've got other youngsters as well. You've got Sam Bell, Tommy Conway, two players who have come up through the ranks from the age of 8 and are finally getting their opportunity to show what they can do. Tommy Conway is a goal scorer. I think he scored 10 or 11 this season. Again, he's been injured. Sam Bell, who burst onto the scene, turn of the year, really had the opportunity, and he can take players on and score goals. Both Sammy Bell and Tommy Conway are natural goal scorers. So we've had the academy director, now technical director, Brian Tinian, and club legend on the show. And a couple of years ago, he came on and said, Sam Bell, Tommy Conway, that's the future of Bristol City. They will be up front together in years to come. And yeah, he was quite right. So youth, you've got Naki Wells, who's a championship legend, Andy Vyman, who is again Premiership, and now Championship. And on top of that, there's other players. Mark Sykes is coming back Tuesday night from a 4-game suspension. He might come straight back in. Matty James and Andy King, two Premier League winners. In defence is the interesting one, because we've been pretty unfortunate with injuries. So Zach Viner is another academy lad who's come in, and he is our main centre back. He's had a great season. He's probably up there for player of the season. And alongside him, another academy lad, Cam Pring, George Tanner on the other side. So there's players throughout the team, and it's building nicely, as I said. So yeah, who knows? Who knows what's going to happen?
I will say, Pat, you have just painted the most majestic future for Bristol City. I mean, listening to you right now, I can't help but root for you guys in the future because I like to see that your academy is feeding your first team. And
Yeah,
that's what,
it's had to
us.
with COVID.
Oh, yeah, exactly. Even United, the likes of Ilman and Dye, and we've seen youngsters come through the ranks at United since COVID and got, almost kind of got their foothold, or I wouldn't say foothold, almost kind of got thrown into the games at some point because just, COVID was COVID. But I mean, it's good to see that, you know, that the future is bright at Bristol City, but the whole thing is I just wish, I told you before recording, I just wish that the game wasn't funded so much on money, and it
Mm.
wasn't like you alluded to Alex Scott. He's played, would you say, 87 games in a Bristol City shirt, and now Bristol City are just like, okay, let's sell them on to make money to almost fund to keep the machine rolling. And I wish
Mm.
you guys could keep hold of him and almost see where he takes you in 2 or 3 years time. You never know. You could be knocking on the Premier League's door. But
Well,
I
there's
mean,
a statistic for you here. 41 of Bristol's 59 goals this season have been scored or assisted by an academy graduate.
wow, wow, that's
So
pretty impressive. That is pretty
yeah,
impressive.
and they are level-headed, really good lads as well, and that is
Yeah.
why them blended in with the experience of your Naki Wells, Andy Vyman, Matty James, Andy King, etc., that it's really working. And it's a real fine balance now of who they recruit in the summer, and they have to fit in with the culture
Yeah.
ultimately. We don't want to bring in a player that is going to train on their own, or or say, right, give me the ball and I'll do it all. That's not going to
Yeah.
happen now.
Yeah.
It's going to be gradually growing. No boom or bust. It's going to be very sustainable, the future, and that may get us to the playoffs. That may not next season, and we have to keep building. But we shall see. And it's, as you say, the Championship is so exciting, and whoever gets to the Premier League from the Championship is is a team that's gonna not all necessarily struggle, because we've seen teams that have gone up and challenged, but it's no mean feat, is it?
No, God, no. And boy, if we get promoted next year, boy, do we have our work cut out for us, because it is going to be driving the struggle bus. A lot of a lot of people that I or a lot of podcasts that I have listened to, they have tipped Burnley for, like, oh my God, if Vince Company stays, they'll probably have a top half finish next year. I'm like, excuse me, what? Um, 15th is best for Burnley. But you like to think their manager might leave for a better payday and a bigger name job, and um, you know, some of those players might find their way off to another team. But yeah, it's very it's very interesting to see where Bristol City could possibly go over the next few years. I will move it back to Tuesday's fixture. Your thoughts on the Blades this season, if you have any. I don't know if you
Well,
probably watched none games, and you're like, oh hell, I hate Sheffield United. This is on the pecking order. They're 24th in the league. I want them relegated out of the championship.
no, I came to Sheffield to watch City last season, and I'm going Tuesday. And last season, I'm trying to remember what the score was now. I think we got beat. I'm sure we got beat. It snowed. I remember that much,
Oh yeah, I do
because
remember that game. Yep.
yeah, we we travelled home back to Bristol, and it took us probably about an hour to get out of Sheffield, to be fair. But yeah, I mean, Sheffield United have had a good season. It certainly shows in their league position, and they are, you know, can you actually get promotion on Tuesday? On Tuesday?
No, no, results have to go. I think, because I'm superstitious, I haven't looked into it very much, but I believe if we win on Tuesday, we don't play at the weekend in the league because we have City in the Cup.
Oh yeah, of course. Yeah.
Middlesbrough and Luton play a week from Monday. If Middlesbrough were to take all 3 points from Luton, I think, and then we play West Brom a week from Wednesday, I believe.
Mm,
If we win that game and then we go at home against Preston, we can be promoted with 2 games left. But if Luton were to go on an absolute tear, win the rest of the games, like I have a feeling they're going to end up doing, this could come down to the last day of the season. So
mm,
promotion is not on the cards in the next couple of league games. At least I don't think
yeah.
so, unless Luton drop points.
Well, yeah, exactly. I mean, looking at your team, two players, well, particularly one who's guaranteed to score against us is Billy Sharp. I think he's
Ah,
scored against us every time I've ever watched him play. And Ollie McBurney. I mean, he's a target man that I've seen play numerous times. And what is it about your team then? Your 3-4-2-1 formation that seems to be working for you guys. Is there that team collectiveness, or is there some standout individuals?
I think, as a whole, I want to say that, this team mirrors the team that got promoted from the championship back a few years ago. they have a cohesiveness. They play as a team. Everybody we lean heavily on Illiman and Die. He is our midfield maestro, and if we don't get promoted, he's going to leave for quite a big sum of money. But we play as a team, and I think that it almost harkens back to our FA Cup upset of Tottenham. We played as a team, and Tottenham have a bunch of individual stars. They have 11 individual stars who are about me and not about we. And I think when it boils down to United, I think Hecky has instilled the we not me mentality. And we had a wobble about February, March, where we had a 13-point lead over third place. And it was almost bang on, okay, it's going to be Burnley and United that are going to get promoted. Then the proverbial wheels came off. In
That was
Middlesbrough
because
ran.
that was because you ruined a perfectly good documentary for Wrexham.
Oh yes, God! Don't even get me started with that. Don't even get me started with that. If I mean, I I will say this: if you were to listen to our podcast and listen to one podcast only or three podcasts only, listen to the before the first tie against Wrexham, the recap of the Wrexham game, and then the recap of the Wrexham second leg, uh, whatever you want to call that, made for TV, Hollywood scripted game that United. I've never seen I've never seen a more biased game in my humble, and that's taking the red and white glasses off. I've never seen a more biased referee system over here in the States. The commentators said Wrexham looked like the championship team and we look like the National League team. They compared our pitch, which Bramall Lane's pitch is probably one of the most beautiful grounds and pitches in the championship. They said our ground was worse than the racecourse ground in Wrexham. It was just, and then the whole Billy Sharp debacle at the end of the game just wound up the Wrexham fans, and until about 3 weeks ago, they were on and on about how they're going to be in the Premier League in 5 to 10 years, winning. I mean, based on this year, they probably could beat Man City 7-0, so they should just give them the Premier League title. But um, yeah, back to your question. Yeah, I think it is more of a cohesive United as opposed to individual stars. We do have individual stars, but they kind of put their egos on the back burner when they blow the whistle to start the match, and then full time, it's like you get a cohesive group, and that's what I think has carried us to this point on the precipice of promotion. So
And you've
I
got
just don't want us to muck it up.
you've got some big guys in that team as well, which is if I could say one thing about Bristol City is that there there is no sort of 6'2", 3" plus person
Mhm.
in there that is gonna batter a few players.
Yeah.
There's a lot of strong players, and they can all absolutely hold their own. But I don't know, what's Ollie McBurney, 6'4", 6'5"?
6. Yes, he might fudge it a little. If you count him with his boots on, he's probably 6'5", maybe 6'3".
Yeah, so
But no,
it's
we
hard to
we do
sometimes defend against players like that.
we do
Andy
have. I
Carroll
mean,
caused us some problems as well. The Reading, that Reading goal, it was just a free kick to the back post. Andy Carroll, who's head and shoulders above everybody else, heads it in, and then someone flicks it on, and they score. So yeah, we definitely need to get some height in the team next season.
our center backs. They're tall. We have a Bosnian that probably will be back for Tuesday's game. He missed out at the weekend because his missus was went into labor to have
Wow.
a child. So he'll probably be back. But I mean, we couldn't score from a corner to save our lives. We have all that height, but we always head the ball. If the crossbar was about 8 to 10 feet higher, we'd probably have the most headed goals in the championship from center backs. But we seem to not be able to do that with the current heights of the goal
Mm,
frame. So I don't know if we're putting in a petition to raise the crossbar up another 8 to 10 foot, but that would certainly
mm.
help us. But yeah, our size is our size is, I guess you could say, I don't know, you from an outside perspective, you like, oh man, the size of United, that might make them dangerous. I mean, we're a physical side in the back, but we're not really deadly from an aerial perspective. So you don't have to worry about us heading in. We could have 7 unmarked corners and we wouldn't score any of them. So
Yeah, well, I think we've scored some goals from corners this season, but the goal scorer is Rob Atkinson, who's now out injured for the rest of the season and well into next season as well. So yeah, doesn't sound like there'd be any goals from corners.
yeah, right.
Q Tuesday night, and there's been 3 goals from corners.
Exactly. Yeah, right. We're speaking it into existence now. Um, so Patch, I will ask you this: full time Tuesday night. What's your full time score? 7-0 Bristol City. Going back to Bristol, flying high. Nigel Pearson's,
Oh,
Robbins.
that'd be nice, wouldn't it? We'll be on a +5 goal difference. That'd be awesome. But no, I think we can come away with a draw. I think there'll be goals. I think if you had to push me, I'd say 2-2 Tuesday night.
Okay. I do like an entertaining fixture. I hate the 0-0 drab,
You
dreary
must
midweek
prefer
fixtures.
a Tuesday night game as opposed to a Saturday game when you've got to get up early to watch it.
It's not. I mean, I won't be able to watch the biggest thing with games over here on Tuesdays and Wednesdays is it's right in the middle of the workday. So I have to
Okay.
put my headphones in. I have
You
to
have a
put
long
my
lunch.
it doesn't work because when kickoff is 7:45 Tuesday night, so it'll be about 2:45 in the afternoon here. So that's past lunchtime.
Okay.
So
Okay.
I'll put my one earphone in and go to my computer and do some work, and then if I have I've been known to be very, very loud when United scores. So I work in an office setting and I will run out to our production floor and I've known to punch things and yell and scream and people have said, "Are you okay? What's wrong? What's wrong?" Don't worry. It was just a goal that's gone in. Don't worry. It's nothing
Yeah.
nothing too serious. But yeah, I mean, even when the 3 p.m. kickoffs on Saturday, it's still 10 a.m. over here. So I'm up
Yeah,
out of
that's
bed.
that's
Yeah, it's a perfect way to
not
start
bad.
the day over here in America.
Oh yeah, awesome. Yeah, brilliant.
But
That's
if
good.
I
So
had to,
yeah, what's your prediction?
I want to say, God, you got 2-2 in my head. We need this game. It's going to be pivotal. I've got to go for a 2-1 because we don't have our first team goalkeeper in Wesley Fotheringham, League One West, because him getting sent off against Burnley. This will be game 2 of his 2-game ban for the red card against Burnley, so we won't have him. So Adam Davies is definitely a liability in goal. We saw him make some good saves against Cardiff. So I'm going to say 2-1. I want to say like 5-3. I would love a game like that. Based off the back of our 4-1 win yesterday against Cardiff. But no, I'll go with a measly 2-1 win. We'll get the 3 points,
Mm.
put, inch or millimeter ourselves closer to that promotion or automatic promotion spot. Because God forbid if we fall into the playoffs, we are going to be done. We're going to be done and dusted first round. But no, I think it's going to be a 2-1 win. I mean, we're
Yeah.
in the friendly confines of Bramall Lane, so we get a little bit more home cooking. The second of 4 games in a row at mighty Bramall Lane. But yeah, Hall will be sought and seen Tuesday night. Patch, go and enjoy yourself in the beautiful city of Sheffield. I hope you guys don't come away with 3 points because I'm gonna be really mad, and I'll probably send you a message on Twitter saying, blast, damn it, why'd you guys take all 3 points? But the last
Yeah.
question I have for you, Patch, and I've been asking this for probably the last 7 or 8 reviews. What is your go-to beverage on game day, match day? Is there a superstitious match day beverage you always have to have?
No, there's not a superstitious match day beverage. I mean, the average City fan would drink a cider called Thatcher's Gold. It's
Okay.
very popular cider, particularly in these parts where it's from.
Mhm.
But I'm on a match day, I'm probably whatever premium lager is on offer. So
Okay.
usually a San Miguel, a Peroni, a Birra Moretti, something
Okay.
of that ilk. Um,
Okay.
but if I'm having a few, I often line the stomach with a Guinness just to kick things
Oh,
off.
yes. Yes. I
What about
love
you?
it. I usually because it's really the only thing that I have and really enjoy watching United play is Guinness. When
Right.
it's not available. Well, Guinness is available over here, but my go-to and my favorite, which I cannot find anywhere over in the States, it has a knockoff name that I found in a different state. Carling. I love Carling, and everybody over in the UK hates it. I haven't found a group
Oh
of
my
people of
God.
Carling.
I was not expecting that
Oh,
to come out of your mouth. Now, there's a
oh
guy
man.
who comes on the Three Peeps in a podcast to talk about Bristol City. We call him Northern Tom, because he's from the north and he's a
Mhm.
City fan, which, there's not many Northern City fans, but he's in a WhatsApp group that we've got, and he drinks Carling frequently, which I lambast him for, quite frankly. And now he's called Carlin Tom instead of Northern Tom to
Oh,
to us. So yeah, I mean, I'll hook you guys up.
oh yeah, perfect. Because the whole thing is, in everybody listening to this and watching this knows my struggle. I've even reached out to the Carling Brewery over in Burton and said, "Can you guys? Is there any way I will pay you whatever to just shuttle me
That's
over?"
dangerous.
A well, it sounds like I'm almost, like holding hostage, a ransom
So have you been
type
have
deal.
you been have you been to Bramall Lane yet?
Yes, I went to Bramall Lane this or last calendar year. I believe, what was it? The second game of the season when we played Millwall at Bramall Lane.
Okay.
Um, Yes, and I drank Carling like it was going out of style. Yes. It wasn't my first time over in England. I went to London and I
Right.
had a little bit of it, but when I got up to Sheffield and stayed in Sheffield, oh yeah, by the pint. Just that perfect pour in that Carling glass, with the oh man, the backdrop of Burton. Oh,
Wow.
yeah, man, oh, man, there's
Well,
nothing better
they
than just sitting in a pub drinking
yeah.
Carling. I could go up to the
So
faucet, turn it on, and drink it.
so what one of the most popular quiz questions is on football, and it involves Sheffield United. Who was the first person to score a goal in the Premier League?
Brian Dean.
From Sheffield United, yes,
Yes,
incorrect.
it
That is
was
correct.
against
Yes,
Manchester United.
and that why I was thinking of that is because it was it. I think it was called the Carling Premier League, wasn't it? That year,
It might have been that would have been, what, 93,
92, 2 or
92?
3.
Yeah,
Yeah,
2 or 3, yeah. It might have been. I
yeah,
know it was the Carling Cup at one point. What is it?
yeah. It was the Carling Cup.
The Carabao No One Cares Cup. I think, yeah, it used to be the Carling Cup, and now it's the Carabao Cup or whatever it
Yeah,
is,
it's been a
meaningless
lot of different
trophy.
things. That one.
Yeah. But well, Patch, I appreciate it. It was fun with you coming on, having
Yeah,
you
thanks for having
on.
me on.
Where can the people that are listening to this on radio find your podcast, your Twitter? Give
So,
us all the social media handles.
yeah, so Twitter is at 3PAAPC. We're a podcast that's been going for 8 years, and we started out as three peeps in a podcast, literally. So three of us getting together and talking about whatever. It was not Bristol City content, and when we started it 8 years ago, then it sort of grew from there. We got a few guests on and reviewed a few things, and then it wasn't until about 3 years ago that we started the Bristol City element of it, which we called the bonus show, because it was a one-off bonus show, a post-match reaction to a game. And then we just kept doing it every week thereafter, every game thereafter. So the Three Peeps in a podcast has got the original show. So that starts episode and then a number. Then we've got the bonus show, which is obviously starts with the bonus show and then Bristol City versus Sheffield United, whatever. And then the third element of the podcast is called Robins Reunited, and that's me with two ex-players from Bristol City. So I get them together and we talk about old times, and yeah, that's a really entertaining listen, because my aim is to just sit back and let those guys catch up and talk about old times playing for Bristol City. So yeah, we've done 20 plus episodes of that, but the bonus show is certainly taken over in terms of content during the football season. But we do have a number of other episodes which aren't football related. So yeah, there's a couple of episodes. Did you guys get Trigger Happy TV? It's like a sketch show,
No, it doesn't. It doesn't ring a bell. I
like
don't believe we did.
a prank show before, way before Jackass. And it's not like
Doesn't ring a
Jackass.
bell.
It's more like a candid camera style thing. But
Okay.
anyway, we had the guy on who wrote and starred in that at the beginning of last year. We've had other people. Jeff Stelling from Sky Sports. I don't know
Okay.
if you
Really?
get that. So he's Soccer Saturday. So they are a couple of sort of that's a football related one. But yeah, there's loads going on the regular show as much as the football related stuff. So yeah, it's something that I've really enjoyed doing.
Oh, cool deal. And I mean, I I have another podcast for my podcast log because you know when I reach out to you guys and then interview you guys, it's like, well, here goes
I
another
know that
podcast
voice.
in the queue. Yep, here we go, another one in the queue, and it just my podcast feed is always filled up with opposing
Yeah,
podcasts because I feel like we build kind of we don't know each other. We're on different ends of the the world right now, and we're having
yeah,
a
yeah.
conversation about football. So that's what I always love about doing
That's what
these
it's all
things.
about.
But
Yeah,
yep,
exactly.
for
No,
sure,
it's brilliant. Thanks for
for
having me
sure.
on. And yeah, I've got family all over the States as well. So, it's nice to speak to an American accent.
Cool deal. Cool deal. And you guys can follow me at cjarvis_13. Follow our podcast, Red Half of Sheffield, on Facebook, on Twitter at Red Sheffield. You can follow us on the YouTube channel if you're watching this video, Red Half of Sheffield. Just type it in that search bar. I'm not very good with the internet, but that's, I guess, how you do it. Um, until Tuesday night at Bramall Lane, and I always do this, the opposition has to drop their chant or saying in the end because I'm definitely going to. Until Tuesday night at Bramall Lane, up the Blades.
And I'll say, oh, that's because we've got so many chants. You've stumped me there for what is our go-to chant. Um, Blimey. Yeah, you've really got me. You've really got me. There's so many. We've got one about about Zach Viner at the moment, which people sing. There's a number that I couldn't possibly even repeat on the airwaves about Bristol Rovers managers and things like that.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, come on, you Reds is our standard one. But we'll probably be playing in yellow on Tuesday night, actually.
Come on, you yellows.
Come on, you yellows.
Uh,
Yeah, exactly. But